I'm currently doing has even had a couple iterations before this current one, and I don't begrudge that. I think that was really good. And why do I stick with this one? This one has gone so much further than any other comic that I've done before. Why is this one special? What's different about this one? Well, partly it's just all the things that I learned doing the ones that didn't work. And also it's just now what drives me to keep doing it is that I really feel like I have a story worth offering. And that if I keep putting it out there and I keep moving it forward, that people will keep wanting to know more about what's going to happen. The more there is and the more I have still to tell, I mean, I don't know, it just builds on itself. And I feel like if I stopped or deviated that from that too long, that I would be doing a disservice. Like, I occasionally do want to do other things. I do want to do things in like totally different styles, like artistically or even writing-wise. You know, do a totally different setting or theme or something like that. You know, but if I do that, then I don't get to keep moving this story forward. No one else has this story, and if I don't tell it, it's dead. It's not going to keep going. And so I feel, that's a little cheesy, but I feel really strongly about that, where it's like, I just, you know, damn it if nobody reads it. I got to tell this story. I got to finish it. So I think that's but at the same time, I think it is really cool that with webcomics, like, yeah, if I wanted to take a week off and be like, hey, I'm going to do something kind of weird and different, and you can either, I'm going to post it here, or you can go to this other website and check it out, and I'm just doing something totally off the wall. Let me know what you think. I mean, I could. And ultimately, if I ever decide that I need to change what I'm doing, I do have that freedom. And that's another thing that's so great about webcomics is that, the only person I'm in a contract with is myself. And so, if I want to change it up, I will. As an artist or as a writer or as both, but that's something that we can do, is that we can let people peek into how our brains work and what we can come up with on our own. I know a lot of people that do either just write or that do just draw, like you, or it's like you're just, you draw. I'm sure you have some impact on how the story is created, but that's something that I've always had a little bit of trouble with, because I feel like there would be some disconnect. I know that it can work because it does. I see it work all the time. There's so many great webcomics that are made by groups of people, if not just pairs. And so, it's something that I like to try, but it's really cool to be in charge of everything, just because then it's like really like every aspect of it is all me. And like you said before, if you succeed, all that success is yours. And if you fail, there's nobody else who has to take the blame, and that kind of makes me feel good too. So, in the past couple of years, I have been trying to actually advertise, put myself out there, and receive feedback. And so, going from having like absolutely no feedback to having any feedback has been kind of weird. Because even when people aren't being negative, sometimes I get really defensive because I've just never had anybody like talk to me about my comics before. And so I don't really know how to react sometimes. But interesting, I mean, it's all been great. Like, and retrospectively, I can look at it and be like, what was I worried about? Like, these people are still reading. Like, and that's the most important thing to remember, is that regardless of what kind of feedback you get on a webcomic, somebody read it. Like, that's the whole point. Like, yeah, read the comic. Like, love it or hate it, you read it, and then you took the time to tell me how you felt about it, and that's awesome. But I have to say, I think that one thing that's interesting, you were talking about the immediacy of response, is that one thing that has come up a couple times for me now has been that people on the internet seem to really enjoy predicting what's going to happen.
I know where this is going, and I don't like it.
Called it. Yeah, like, oh, okay, great. Like, that's really cool. Like, at first, again, when I started experiencing that, I was like, what? And if they guess right, I'm like, oh, do I have to change it now?
No. Never change that.
So now it's like, I just realized that it's people, just expressing their excitement in a different way. You look back at your early work and say, oh man, I had that to do, yeah, I'm so much better now, or oh, I really just wasn't, I didn't have it together, or I wasn't doing it right. And, you know, at some point you might feel like, man, I should really just go back, and redo it. But it truly is a trap, because you go back and redo it, and then you're better still. So then when you go back to where you were, oh, you're better, and there's a jump. And so it's like, there's really no end to that. You just kind of have to accept that, like everybody's saying, you progress, you get better. If you're drawing the same characters over and over and over again, you're going to get better at drawing them. That's pretty much how it goes. And so yeah, the first pages are going to look kind of shoddy compared to the newer pages, but don't let that keep you from continuing. You can't just restart every 5 years and be like, well, it's better now. And I think that one thing that struck me only very recently is that really you can decide to do whatever you want. I mean, when you're a little kid and people are like, we want to do whatever we want when we grow up, like, you know, like, that's a half-truth, like, you know, because there's some things that you can't be. But the thing is that if you want to make a webcomic, and if you want to make it your job, or if you just want to have something to show for it, then all you have to do is work towards it. And that sounds so simple. It's not easy, but it is simple. And I think that's the driving force behind me, is that it's like, it might not be easy to keep doing this, and it might be hard sometimes for me to draw myself away from other things, to keep to my schedule, or to keep doing what to keep writing the story, to keep making it happen. But all I have to do is do it. I hate how that sounds, because it makes it sound easy, and it's not. It's not easy, but it is that simple. You just gotta keep doing it, otherwise it won't be there.